black hot ministry of the liberties, usually at the dinner and the restaurant there. And the blue line says roadside parking spaces or scooter.
Okay, real street is a second hand. Real street is rescue very lots of hungry students. So let me introduce some choice of dinner. The first restaurant is Putong. This restaurant sells Riam cuisines and this is Wen-Hua and Tainan. This restaurant sells roasted meats and hot rice. And this one is Yule. This restaurant sells hot noodles. Hot noodles means udon mian. And this one is shows dry food and set meal. And this one is Kaohsiung. This restaurant sells noodles and steak soup. Steak soup is something like 虱目鱼。
Step 2 is to count the roadside parking spaces and the parking spaces in the parking lots. And then as a research, we found there are 120 parking spaces on the road, and there are almost 300 parking spaces for secretary cars in the parking lots. And then what we found, there are two main problems on the user streets. First is many car parking on the wrong place, and then the second is about on the lot for the parking. They are riding on the ground, which shows there are some car and scooter parked illegally and they took all the way. As I said before, there are almost 200 parking spaces for scooter on the streets. However, because people don't want to walk the long distance for convenience, so they chose to park in front of the shop. And before introducing the improper use of skill, let me introduce what skill is. Skill is a common architectural in Taiwan and Southeast Asia. It is feature a covered design way for people to walk and then to protect people from sun and rain. The proper use of skill. The walkway on the university are often occupied by shop owner who make it into the kitchen. And when people walk on the walkway, they need to walk on the road frequently, and which lead to more dangerous.
Okay, and now I want to follow the solutions of people engineers. Here is the solutions of government. Government should strengthen traffic supervision and weaken the phenomena of traffic violation. Also, government should plan the stall area, and then government should also create barrier-free and friendly spaces for vendors and pedestrians. For example, government can install a camera to take a picture of illegal parking. Also, government can draw a range of signals to prevent vendors from occupying the stall.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the reflection. And number one is not considering the impact of time periods. During this project, we choose to conduct our observation at non-peak hours because we thought it would be easier with fewer people around. It's more convenient to take notes and photos. But later we realized that this might lead to some blind spot in our research. For example, during peak hours like lunch break or after school, the traffic condition can be very different ways for illegal parking, crowded street, limit timing availabilities. Student experience learn how crucial the timing of observation can be. It is something that we will definitely pay closer attention to in the future project. And the reflection two is why we didn't use the questionnaire as a result. We designed the questionnaire to get an opinion on traffic issues from the street. but we realized that the timing was an issue. Science cycle students are still in class during lunch. They couldn't answer the traffic condition at that time and couldn't answer the question accurately. This made data less reliable. So, if we only reply on responses from university students, the result wouldn't have totally reflected what was going on. So we decided to exclude the survey result from our final report. This experience taught us that designing a good survey isn't just about asking the right question, but also affect considering the timing and the right participant. It is something that we will make sure to do better in the future. And this is our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And our next team will be Miyagi First Senior High School, Japan. Their topic will be diversity focusing on Islam. Please give them a big applause.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we will present our research titled Diversity. In this project, we are particularly focused on Islam to explore the creation of a city where diverse people can coexist. First, let us introduce our team members. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin. I'm Angela.
And I'm Daniel. We cover together our respective activities and functional throughout this project. We came from Miyagi First Senior High School in Cianjhen City, Miyagi Prefecture, Japan. This city is a beautiful place of nature, history, and diverse cultures. In our research, we focus on SDGs number 10, to reduce inequalities. Specifically, we focus target 10.2 by 2030, empower and promote the social, economic, and cultural inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, or economic or other status. We sought concrete ways in which a city can contribute to achieving this goal.
Okay, I'm going to talk about background and foundation. In terms of Japanese religious views, firstly, most of us do not hold a specific religion. Secondly, our lives are a mixture of different religious beliefs and practices. And last year, in Miyagi Prefecture, Governor of Miyagi Prefecture said that various churches will be developed in Miyagi. And however, there is no struggle for data to accept Muslim barriers. So we think that Japan is lagging behind in terms of their cultural coexistence. By the way, we have a question for you. Do you know the exact differences between acceptance and tolerance? Most of you might not understand the definition of those words. Acceptance is defined in Cambridge Dictionary as a noun, meaning general agreement that something is satisfactory or right, or that someone should be included in the group. It means if we accept other ideas, we consider them as separate from our own. It cannot be intercultural coexistence. And on the other hand, tolerance is defined as a noun, meaning willingness to accept behavior and beliefs that are different from your own, although you might not agree with or approve of them. If we were to be tolerant, the world would be more equal and open to everyone, no matter what religions they live in. It is essential to be tolerant to achieve our goal, intercultural coexistence. So let's think about how the world becomes tolerant.
To understand the original condition, we distributed a questionnaire and visited the ICCS, Islamic Culture Center of Sentai, attended to Tohoku Future Conferences. So, we would like to share two methods of issue. First, we distributed a questionnaire to international students at Tohoku University. Second, we interviewed an imam, a leader of the mosque, named Mohammed Noboru Sato at the ICCS. The first question is about difficulty experienced in Japan. The most serious problems are foods and places for worship, because there are foods and drinks that Muslims cannot eat or drink, such as pork and alcohol. And this is the result of the country. Most of the respondents from Indonesia. And in Indonesia, most of the people believe Islam. So we have extra difficulties experienced by some Muslims. First, Muslim women basically can't remove their hijab when men are present, so they feel difficulty. And also, they feel difficulty of obtaining halal food due to their restrictions. Notice this. There are a lot of Muslim people responded to this questionnaire. Then there are some places where support can be improved.
Next, I will talk about the result of interviews and future direction. During our research, we visited an Islamic culture center near the school. We interviewed its representative, Mohammed Sato. He advised us to start with something familiar to us in our daily lives. We therefore turned our focus to food and investigating to see if there was anything we could do closer to hometown. We also found a prefecture government project promising and a map showing the restaurant serving halal food. However, the result of our survey shows that these projects are not as widespread as we expected. After that, we then considered the eating out aspect. Even if there are restaurants and places offering halal food, however, we thought that it would be financially difficult for them to eat out every day. There are also supermarkets in the city that sell halal food, but the halal food is prices too high, and the halal foods are not available easily. So we concluded that if more halal food available easily, Muslims will be able to live more comfortably. So we turned our attention to the local community. This city has many educational institutions that is important for international students such as Japanese language school and Tohoku University. There are also many large supermarkets that many people use every day. So we would like to negotiate with these supermarkets to stock halal food ingredients.
As you can see the photo on the left, in the Muslim majority country, there are certification marks on the halal food. The printed on them were applied as stickers. But we thought that the printing on them or printing on them the halal food certification mark is a burden for us. So our solution is to create the halal food places to the supermarket corner. And finally, we would like to create a world more tolerant of cultures and religions. Thank you.
Thank you for your brilliant performance. Our next team will be Kaohsiung Municipal Girls Senior High School from Taiwan. Their topic will be understanding public perception of new immigrants in Taiwan. Please give them a big applause.
Good afternoon, our guests, judges, and all participants today. We are students from Kaohsiung Girls Senior High School. I am Chen Yule.
I'm So Qingyu.
As you can see easily, the topic of our research is about the new immigrants. Now, may I invite you to join the journey of understanding the public perception of new immigrants in Taiwan.
According to research, Taiwan's new immigrants have reached 600,000 people, and they continue to grow every year, almost as many people as Yunlin County. This shows how important they are to Taiwan.
Who are new immigrants? Basically, new immigrants are individuals who relocate to a new country or region. This international or domestic movement may result from various reasons, some for work, for study, for dreams or marriage, while others might relocate due to some cruelty, such as wars. Therefore, the lifestyle of new immigrants is different from that of temporary workers.
Wow, that's interesting. Why do you want to discuss these issues? Is there any challenge from them? Yes, there is. There are many challenges that are coming soon. First of all, language barriers. Second, social discrimination. Last, cultural differences.
The first one is language barriers. I believe this one can be widely understood by most of you. Imagine this. If you move to another country, such as France, instead of having fluent French ability or lovely English conversation skill, you can barely understand what the native are talking about, and you can barely be understood by them. It's imaginable hard to adapt in that kind of society, isn't it? Similarly, new immigrants in Taiwan, such as Vietnamese, are now struggling with the translation of Mandarin and Mandarins. What makes matters worse is that they are lacking of support. Therefore, the first challenge faced by the new immigrants is language barriers.
In addition to language barriers, another challenge is social discrimination, since female foreign spouses would become
foreign brides in the early days of Taiwan, with the evolution of the times. Foreign workers and foreign brides began to be labeled and even considered to have negative connotations, such as stigma and discrimination.
The next one is cultural difference. Different places usually have different beliefs, values, and traditions, but some of them might be against each other and cause tension and community. For example, it is polite to take showers several times a day in Vietnam. But people in Taiwan must think that is a waste of water. In fact, these challenges and the expectation of our research are connected to SDGs number 10. Take the goal 10.2 as an example. Empower and promote the social inclusion of all irrespective of race, origin, and more. And the item 10.3 in SDGs refers to ensure equal opportunity by laws, policies, and actions.
Let's take a look at the overview.
At first, our teacher introduced new immigrants to us in class. Then we are curious about what the ideas of Chinese are and what new immigrants think. Therefore, we started to research into this topic. Second, interviewing. This method includes an actual face-to-face street interview as well as an online interview. We have interviewed with both new immigrants and local Taiwanese residents.
Next, conclusion. According to our research, Taiwanese people think the situation of new immigrants are in a difficult environment. However, new immigrants think otherwise.
Let's break down the two interviews. So, Yule, for the street interview, where did you take your action and who did you interview? We went to Kaohsiung train station to interview strangers of all ages. As for the online interview, how did you conduct the interview? Furthermore, are there any particular backgrounds of those interviewees? Through social media, we successfully get in touch with several interviewees. And after talking to them, we found that all of them are second-generation immigrants. Now I understand how the two different interviews work. So, what have you found after the street interview?
After our experiment, as you can see on the slide, there are almost 50% of interviewees agree that they have a good impression of new immigrants.
Also, we found some people don't agree that new immigrants are accepted in Taiwan.
Furthermore, there are almost 80% of interviewees agree that they are very familiar with the term new immigrants.
Last, most people think new immigrants are not getting their treatment. That's the result of the street interview. As for the online interview, what's the outcome of your online interview?
The first interviewee said Taiwan is more friendly to new immigrants, and Taiwan's government can provide more awareness to them. What's more, the second interviewee said Taiwanese perception of new immigrants are acceptable to them.
Wait a second. I think we have faced our first difficulty here. Taiwanese people said we think new immigrants are in a difficult environment in Taiwan. In contrast, the new immigrants said we do not feel obvious discrimination in the society. What makes the results so different? We think because our interviewees are mostly youngsters, and their friends who are youngsters are more open to the diversity of people. As for those who interview on the streets, they seem to be bothered by some stereotypes and discrimination. Besides, all of them are second-generation immigrants. Since they are born here in Taiwan, they didn't really experience the huge cultural differences between Taiwan and their original country. Both are reasons and also results, which is unlike street interview.
Approaching strangers during a street interview is not a difficulty, but over time, we became more comfortable to complete this action.
In conclusion, the perception of Taiwanese people is new immigrants are under a difficult situation in Taiwan. By comparison, the perception of new immigrants is there is no obvious discrimination in the society. Different age groups of people are the factors of the different perceptions in our research.
Based on this research, we were surprised by our results, such as different ages of people have different views on new immigrants.
Also, this research broadened our horizons of population of new immigrants. If we have opportunity to understand more about this topic, we will ask more new immigrants and interview people from different cities to get more detailed information and present more complete presentation to the public.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention, patience, and time.
Thank you very much. Our next team will be Taichung Municipal Wen-Hua High School from Taiwan. Their topic will be more of the practical needs you are hungry for, unveiling the demanding resources of rural junior high schools, a key study in Taiwan City.
Good afternoon, distinguished teachers and researchers. I'm pleased to have the privilege to be here with you today. In my opinion, the conference we're attending today is so inspiring and of high quality. However, have you ever wondered if the children in rural areas have access to this kind of activity? This brings me to the topic of my presentation, what the practical needs are hungry for, unveiling the demanded resources of rural junior high schools, a case study in Taichung City. According to the Fundamental Act of Education, all regions in Taiwan should have equal access to educational opportunities and activities. The law stipulates that rural areas should receive priority assistance in terms of additional budgets and services. The law also states that rural areas, all regions in Taiwan should provide sufficient budgets. Education in remote or special areas should be their priority for grants and assistance. So, I'd like to ask you guys a question. Do you think that rural areas have received enough educational supplies and services? If your answer is positive, please raise your hand now. Okay, if your answer is negative, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you for your responses. Through my initial online research, I found that additional resources and activities are organized in rural areas, especially by NGOs, urban schools, and individuals. However, the gap between urban schools and rural schools remains significant. I believe those in urban areas tend to get higher scores, while those in rural areas left behind. And I believe that this gap stems from misallocated investment. In other words, the resources provided by society often fail to align with the actual need of rural education. This brings up an important question. Do individuals and the society fail to understand the actual need of rural education? This research has identified the most pressing deficiency in rural areas, and through the analysis, people can implement a more adaptive approach that better supports rural schools. These are my research questions. Next, I'm going to briefly share my research progress. In fact, I initially planned to focus my project on promoting supply drive in Taiwan City. However, during my research, I found out that material donation, which means that driving a car to the real place and give them some supplies like markers, pens, backpacks, those are not very important, according to the thing I found on the internet. So I decided to find out what is the most urgent thing in faced by rural schools. And I found that different reports share conflicting views. So I decided to share my research to this one. To conduct research and analyze reports from website that Cianjhen Taiwan Rural Children Education Foundation, and also examined data from the Ministry of Education. And I finally found a Excel spreadsheet on the website, the platform of MOE, and it contains any contact information on rural schools. And I found some useful contact information, and I reached out to different schools via email so that I can introduce the student teachers in rural schools that did my research. And finally, I received 2 replies and was helped by the principal of Kaohsiung Junior High School. And she helped me a lot and helped me find 3 rural schools that did my research. And I finally interviewed 18 interviewees who have had experience as rural home teachers. And next, I'm going to share some of my difficulties. Halfway through my studies, I have to overcome so many obstacles, which are different ability and type of ability. So for the first challenge that I encountered, I found that many of my resources cited was not very reliable since they lacked some important information such as author's name, publication date, and references. And some information also contained logical flaws. For example, an editorial account claimed that the PISA report revealed the gap between urban and rural students. However, the PISA data only showed disparity between low and high achievers, without specifying that the low-performing students were from rural areas. So these are questions I encountered first. And the next question is the time problem. I plan to interview some interviewees by myself in person because I want to get some reliable information. And however, I'm a student, I have to go to school on weekdays, and teachers are unavailable on weekends. So to address the first challenge, I try to examine that data more critically. I want to get some research papers from many websites, but I failed to do this. I didn't know RT library at that time, so I failed to find some superior information, and I only used the information online and verified it through rigorous fact-checking. For another obstacle, it doesn't trouble me for long, since visiting to rural areas and understanding their needs is very practical or meaningful to me. So I decided to spend 3 days conducting field work in the remote regions. Next, let's see what I found in the research. First, I'm going to answer one of my research questions. What resources are still lacking in rural areas and remain unsolved? So, according to some online posts, the most vital deficiencies is that rural areas suffer from teacher shortage. However, according to my interviewees, I found that it is the environment in rural area. They said that the educational environment in rural area weakens student motivation to learn. Why? On one hand, students have to do overwork chores or assist their family with work. Since they are very busy from their schoolwork and family work, they are hard to focus on their studies. On the other hand, some students suffer from a lack of educational resources since the facilities in the society did not often provide them with cultural exposures. So that's I'm going to share my reflection. I'm going to share some of my potential extensions. And the first one is to conduct awareness campaigns to persuade some parents who may intentionally limit their children with their learning the children with their learning opportunities. And maybe we can try to find out some ways to apply so that parents can support their children on learning. And the second one is that some families have to force their children to go to work that study since their family don't have money to cover their basic expenses. So to ensure everyone has access to education, the first thing we have to ensure is that some people that economic situation is enhanced in rural areas. And according to Lauren Field, she once said, when travels all over the world, have come to realize that what distinguishes one child from another is not ability, but access. Access to education, access to opportunity, access to love. So understand that practical means of rural education is the first step to educating students. So I hope that every student in rural areas has access to educational opportunities. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Our next team will be the last team for this session, right? So that's what team from National Tainan University High School, Taiwan, and they will speak on the evolution of trust. Please give them a big round of applause.
Greetings.
I'm Wen-Hua.
And I'm the reporter, Cianjhen, presenting the evolution of trust. In brief, our research aims to develop on investigating the mechanism of cooperation and trust. Through our research, developing countries can relate their strategies to maximize their revenue and reduce the gap between them of the countries. Which is corresponded to SDGs-2C and 10.1. Furthermore, by understanding the SS trust, conflict between different countries will decrease, which is corresponded to SDGs 16.1. So our research fulfills three goals at once. And let's start with the problem statement.
Okay, so coin-based learning system helps increases your options. Count. Always only coins make an advantage. And sorry. Some strategies show measurable benefits. So it's crucial to understand how barriers influence these strategies. So and there are two important questions to consider. The first is how can we determine the best response strategy against non-confident disease? And the second is what emerging behaviors and dominant strategies emerge in tournament among agents using different strategies, and how the outcomes can become their initial condition. Okay. Also, there are 6 characters, and we can simply categorize them into 3 types. The first type is mirror strategy, which includes 2 variations, copycat and copycat prime. They both adhere to the restricted mirror reflection principle, meaning they'll replicate their opponent's status. And the only difference between these 2 characters is in their initial movement. Copycat starts with an friendly motion, while copycat prime with a proper attack. And the second type is fixed strategy, so including collaborator and cheater. Collaborator is completely altruistic, so it always take cooperative action. While cheater is an extremely egoistic type, so it brings vicious atmosphere to the ecosystem by destroying all cooperation opportunities. And the last type is conditional strategy. So graduate is forgiving, not forgetting type. This exclamation is based on a single feature event into a reversible transition. And thinker is characterized as a redemption type. So its initial condition is default action. But it requires single cooperative effect from the opponent to trigger cooperations. Okay, so
now let's inquire into the best strategies against each character. So for the Tomcat and the Burgers, the best strategy is to cooperate except for the last round, so that you can earn the profit from cooperation in the first N-1 round and maximize your income by cheating in the last round. And for the second category, we have copycat round. And the best strategy remains the same. But the only difference is you will get cheated in the first round, and you have one opportunity of cooperation less than the previous one. And for the third type, it is a collaborator. They are the best example for decision independent groups. So when you are against them, the best strategy is always cheating. For you against collaboration, the profit will be times 5. For you against the cheater will be 0. It is possible for you to obtain income from the cheater. And for the last category, we have the thinker. The best strategy is to cooperate the first round and cheat for the rest of the match. And your profit can be divided by this formula. And you might be wondering, what if there's only one round? Should I swap out those strategies? From the previous chart, you can see that if there's only one round, which indicates that your opponent's decision is independent yours, then the best strategy is to cheat. However, we cannot precisely predict our opponent in the reality, so now let's move on to a tournament.
Then I will recommend between the city characters preliminary exercise some variables in the decision. Okay, as you see, this is the current chart about the 6 characters. We have calculated all the results when each 2 characters battle. For instance, if you choose cheater as your strategy and your opponent chooses copycat, then you will only get 5 points in the first round because both of you will choose each other in the next -1 round. Or if you want to get the most profit, you have to choose cheater as your strategy again, while your opponent should choose cooperator. Then you will get n times 5 points after a round. Then I will introduce 3 different variables: N, Q, and T. N is the number of repetitive rounds, and Q is I divided by C. So we can learn the relationship between I, income, and C cost. And T is the length of the session. Let me explain our approach to chart representation. First, we will show 2 variables N and Q on each chart. Second, we will use many different charts to represent many different cities. Third, we will use points in different color plotted on the chart to represent the strategy of each N, Q, I, and T. And there are 3 examples on the right side of the slide. We use text to select our results. As you see, this chart looks quite similar. That is, T has almost no effects to the result, and we roughly divide each chart into 4 sections.
In each classification, they have their reasons. So for the first one, N is equal to 1, which means there's one match, and just as I mentioned, when your opponent's decision is independent to yours, and then you should cheat. So any character that start thinking as a strategy. And for Q equals 1, which means there's no profit by in cooperation. So the cheater will be the best strategy. And when Q is between 1.5 and 3, the merger will be the best strategy. And when Q is larger than 3, the benefit from cooperation is considerable. So collaborator will not miss any opportunity of cooperation with the best strategy. Nonetheless, it is quite different from the original game. In the original game, the copycat and compound dominate the graph. So we investigate the second best strategy. And here's the explanation for why our results deviate from the original one. Is that we invent a new character called Copycat Crown, and the Copycat and Copycat Crown will alternately cooperate and cheat, which will make them benefits to become half of the original one. And we can see, though they are not the best strategy, come around, still hold the edge. This graph going to the flexibility.
And here are some conclusions. First, trust is based on the repeated runs, especially for copycat from Thinker and Roger. Second, the best measure against each target and outcome be evaluated. Third, for different situations, we have to do different reactions to adapt to different people or environments. For instance, if the cost effectiveness is extremely low, we usually use the outside world to improve our benefits.
And here are the words. First, to estimate the diverse variable condition, we will find new characters. And secondly, we will do the possibility errors to approximate the reality. And we will seek the best strategy against opponents since we cannot precisely predict our opponent in the reality. And for the last part, we will change the evaluation or the input population to analyze how they affect the result. And our working reference is the original game by Miyagi case, and this is all our recording. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you all for your presentations. We believe that you are now eager to get some constructive feedback to improve your research. Please join me in welcoming today's commentator, Dr. Liu Guangyan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was surprised to give the feedback right now because I heard I should give you the comments after all the 10 groups you finish your presentation. I give you the feedback. But anyway, since we still have time, okay, so from group number 1, you are you discuss the traffic problem of the industry, right? First, group number 1. Right. I think one comment is, did you try to do the investigation or to do the statistics analysis of the traffic flow on Yule Street? 有没有去做过交通调查？有啊。Did you see any traffic accidents? No. You find something like illegal parking, park use of right? But any accident from the students? No. You know why I ask you? Did you observe any cars that were traffic accidents? But people get injured. The school will pay attention to that. Otherwise, it is an ocean issue. Of course, you don't like to have someone get injured or dead. That would be that would be a tragedy. We don't like that. Because this session is related to the social issue. Basically, I'm not in this field. So I can only learn something from you, indeed. But I found one general comment, not only for the group number 1, for all the team. I think that the general question is, you think your title, your topic is important, and you try to discuss something. You try to find some solution, but actually you can do nothing. I don't know whether you have this kind of feeling or not, but so far I heard that, for example, the traffic problems, the religious issue, the Islam, and the new immigrants, and group number 4, the case study like the education issue, right? And also the final group talking about the evolution of the trust. Yeah, every topic is important. But unfortunately, in your area right now, you cannot do something. You can't solve that. You just touch this topic, but you cannot solve the problem. As I said, you have some impact. Yes, I know it's important, and I want to do something, but I don't know how to do that. I just realized, maybe it is something I have to do in the future, and I start to know that. That's a good point. That's a good starting point. But did you try to find some resources from government? Maybe, for example, the traffic issue. Did you try to contact the traffic police? Probably there already is something. For example, they install the monitor, so they will watch how many traffic, how many cars traveling on the street. They will pay attention to some rush hours. They will ask the police to stand along the street to watch the students for their safety. Maybe. So not only for rule number one, the general feedback for you is probably for example, the other one is talking about the education problem. Probably the government already have the solution, but you cannot directly solve that in 1 or 2 years. Impossible. The social problem cannot be solved directly, not like the other group in the morning. I think the big difference between the social progress and the technical progress is totally different. You can decide your test, you can decide that. You can change your characters, right? You can do the test again and again to report the data, to do the analysis, even the test didn't fail, but you can do that again. But how about the social progress? The students studying the rural area, how can you help them? There's a slogan in USA that no child is left behind. I don't know whether you heard that before. In fact, no child should be left behind, right? We should provide as much as the resources we can provide for our young age students. We hope so. But if we cannot provide enough job vacancies, how can they make money in their rural area? Otherwise, they cannot provide sufficient educational resource for their child. So I think that, again, let me remind you again, the SDGs covers a wide range of topics. You have so many goals. But for the social progress, you realize, that's the thing in your mind. It's important, it touches me. And I want to help people that try to connect and try to find the resources from the government or from universities. I think they already have some strategies or the solutions in mind, but they didn't let you know. Of course, your opinions are important too. So far, we really appreciate the comments and the opinions from the students' parts. For example, for the principal in this school or in my university, National University, the principal are very appreciative. The colleagues can give any comments to improve the environment to get you a better life. So I think, that's my general comments, and this is not easy. It's really not an easy job. I still have to say I learned many things from you, and even right now I'm working in our field. My major is in civil engineering, so I do more works related to the structure, safety analysis, structural design, and especially for the seismic design and retrofit. So I'm more familiar with the experimental program to do the test and to refine the test and even propose new equations. That's my job. But for the new, the problem we want to solve, in fact, it's very hard to give one equations. Did you find the difference between your part and the group in the morning? You see many equations. But here, it's very hard to give you the very sound equations. It's very complicated. It's complex. It's a complicated environment. Okay. So you still need to did a good job in the beginning, but don't lose your what I want to say, I encourage you to do more. Yeah, it's a good start point, and you can do better. In fact, the normal separation after that one is the necessary step. So I encourage you to think more. Not just say, okay, here is the problem, but what? You know? Okay. Question is a question, but what is the solution? But sometimes the solution cannot be solved immediately. Maybe after 5 years, 10 years. That's the reality of the social problem. Okay, so this is what I can give to you right now. So let's take a break.
Thanks again for the useful feedback from our commentator. Now it's time for a short break. Desserts and beverages are ready for you to enjoy outside the venue. Please know that eating and drinking is not allowed in the venue. And the next session will begin at 3:15. 3:15. Please be seated by then. We'll see you later. Thank you.
So
The next presentation session will begin in 3 minutes. Please return to your seat. Thank you. Good afternoon, honorable guests, presentation teams, and students. We hope you enjoy the refreshments. And now let's just get started. Please welcome the team from Riam Secondary School, Malaysia. And their topic will be understanding the decline in face-to-face communication among teenagers. Please give them a big round of applause.
Picture this. You're out with your friends, but you're all on your phone. You're together, but are they really present? Hello everyone. We're students from Wen-Hua Secondary School, Miri Sarawak, Malaysia. My name is Jaja.
My name is Jessica.
My name is Robin. And my name is Alison. Today we would like to dive deep with you on a topic, the decline in face-to-face communication among teenagers.
These days, more teenagers are trying to communicate online rather than face-to-face. Social media platforms, messaging apps, and online games have become a part of their daily routine. These digital tools allow teenagers to stay connected virtually at any time and from anywhere. While this convenience is great, real-life interaction remains essential in daily life. Teenagers can learn how to read emotion, show empathy, and build stronger, more meaningful relationships through face-to-face conversation. What happens when emoji replaces real emotion? The as replace the conversation. Studies, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, show a growing decline in interpersonal skills among teenagers. Our goal through this project was to encourage more meaningful relationships and reduce the over-reliance on digital platforms.
Every discovery starts with a question, and our question was simple. Why aren't teens talking anymore? Our exploration begins with a discussion on the challenges of teenagers nowadays. As teenagers, we are clear about the current issues happening in our surroundings. So, we eventually chose reduced face-to-face interaction among teenagers as our topic because we noticed some changes in our communication habits. First, we researched on the root causes to understand the topic better. Next, we created Google Form for students and teachers and conducted interviews with some teachers and school staff to gather more detailed information. Finally, we collected and organized all the data for our analysis. Throughout this process, we faced a few challenges. Language barriers made some interviews harder, and we also struggled with limited time. In this process, we learned the importance of teamwork, preparations, and persistence. Next, I will pass the time to April.
Now let's look at some numbers from our quantitative research. This data shows the student tendencies in group dynamics and also problem solving. So when a student encounters a problem, 77% of them rely on friends, 14.1% relies on their classmates, and only 8.9% of them approach their teachers. Now let's see their role in group work. 40.2% identify as a follower in a group, 26.8% identify as a researcher, 22.7% identify as a leader, and only 10.3% identify as an explorer. Next, we can see a near even split of 59.8% of students finding it easy to communicate with adults, while 40.2% find it difficult to adults. This could reflect on the differences in confidence, generational gaps, and also individual experiences with authority figures. Now, during meals, 75% of students prioritize their time with their family, while 25% of them are on their phones. While family interaction still dominates, the phone usage suggests that technology still competes for their attention, even in shared moments. Now, let's look at the teachers' responses. We can see here they think the social media influence, which is selected by 37.5% of teachers, they see it as a leading external influence on student behavior and also focus. Next, we can see 25% of teachers pointed to self-identity issues, which could reflect noting that students struggle with how they view themselves. And academic pressure and family environment each identify as 18.8% each, noting that this can reflect on the expectations that are placed in students at home and at school. Interestingly enough, peer pressure is considered less significant compared to the other factors. This is the contrast between student and teacher's perspectives. Both views are important, and together we can understand more about the learning experiences of students.
Now that we've looked at quantitative research, let's focus on qualitative research. By having interview sessions with not only our school principal, but also our school counselors and school teachers, we understand more about this topic. By the way, that's me interviewing my beautiful principal. Next, our first key finding is communication struggles among teenagers. As some teenagers communicate well, but many faces language barrier as we live in a multilingual country like Malaysia. And not only teenagers, but teachers faces challenges too, as some young teachers struggle to communicate with students with different backgrounds. And that shows a decline in social skills, as communication skills among teenagers have been declining. And that is due to the impact of technology, as many students prefer being alone due to the strong influence of the digital world. And that has caused two main issues, which is the body language issues and aggression in students, as one of the most noticeable things is the lack of eye contact when communicating with teenagers. And many of them feel that students are becoming increasingly more aggressive when communicating with others. Next is the basic social struggles. Some participants noted that they see many students who don't even know how to order their own food at restaurants or other places. And that is due to the parental influence, as many parents nowadays chooses to give their children a gadget rather than communicating with them or interacting with them. And that has caused gadget overuse, as young kids are most likely having an iPad or a phone to keep them away from engaging in conversation. Not only parents, but also peers. If they're around people with poor communication skills, they're most likely to develop the same issue. And lastly is the less outdoor play. In the past, we used to play outside with our own friends, connecting with them in real life, but now kids prefer to use gadgets over socializing. So how can we help teenagers talk more face-to-face, not just through screens and messages? One way we found is through co-curricular activities. Let me share some examples from our school. First, Caring Angel program for student leaders and teachers. In this program, students and teachers send kind and anonymous messages to each other. It might sound simple, right? But it really helps us to think about others' feelings and how to express care. Behind the scenes, our communication skills improve naturally. Second, Lion Dance Troupe during Chinese New Year. Performing together for 15 days was not easy. It took a lot of practice and cooperation. But through this, we learned to talk and work as a team. Even the shy members started opening up. Lastly, visit to the home for the aged. Just sitting down and listening to the elderly stories help us improve our communication skills and understand people better. Why is this important? Because these activities give us a chance to build real friendships. If more students join this kind of activities, we believe that they will talk more, connect more, and grow into better communicators.
Throughout this project, we learned the importance of teamwork, time management, and clear goal setting. The school reopening came with a hectic schedule for everyone. With better planning, we believe that our research could reach even more students. In the future, we would like to investigate deeper issues such as social media, how social media significantly shape teenagers' social skills, and the impact of parenting styles on children's social development. Besides, we would like to explore how social-emotional learning, especially in subjects like library education, as well as communication skills, which were essential traits for future leaders.
We will start this journey with a question, and now we're going to end it with a message. Face-to-face connection matters. From setbacks to breakthroughs, from surveys to interviews, we have learned so much, not just about the topic today, but also about ourselves, right? Face-to-face connection matters. So we should learn the importance of speaking up, listening deeply, and engaging with others meaningfully. Remember, the most important messages are not typed, they are spoken. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for this Riam performance. Now let's welcome our next team from Kaohsiung Municipal Cianjhen Senior High School. Their topic will be campus water quality monitoring system. Please give them a big round of applause.
Hello everyone, we are students from Cianjhen Senior High School in Kaohsiung. My name is Riam and I am Kaohsiung. We're here to show our topic, campus water quality monitoring system. Here's our test. We will walk you through everything from our motivation to our contribution. Our motivation began with an observation. And one day after we can, the water performance for water sensors on has changed. This may be due to the dispensers not being used for many days or other reasons. Therefore, we want to study these issues and come up with a solution to keep the stress test away.
In daily life, we often run into problems due to more than instead of fixing them. One example is the water from campus dispenser. It often smells weird, and the school has proper water quality monitoring. Since we are not sure whether it is safe to drink, we end up buying bottled water. But it's a lot of plastic waste, which is something violence. That's why our goal is to make sure everyone has access to clean and safe drinking water.
Our issue is connecting SDGs, specifically for safe time and growth. First, forces and to ensure clean water and sanitation. Second, organize policies offer affordable, sustainable, and innovative infrastructure. Nextly, Word 12, seeks responsible and green consumers.
Now let's talk about our ideal solution. Starting from the right, we need to create a water quality detection device like the AirBox. This device will automatically collect data and upload it to a database. The server will pull the data from the database and display it to user with a web interface. This way, students can access open data about campus water dispenser.
We propose installing water quality monitors as the water process to display real-time water quality and automatically upload information to the stored data platform. If any more changes, and the LED lights will turn on notified for administration.
For our platform, all water quality data from campus dispenser will be integrated here and displayed on school's website. Users will also be able to view data of the past and any time, enhancing trust and transparency. After we build our research objective, we carry out our study with the following 4 steps. Water quality taste of water dispenser, a questionnaire survey on water drinking habits of students, analysis of TTS and questionnaire results, development of water quality monitoring device and the school's online data platform, and finally, a look back on our research.
We measure the TDS values of the drinking water dispensers on the campus and kept the collected data on a computer for analysis.
TTS show the tiny stuff dissolved in water that you cannot see, and the result shows that the TTS value on Friday and Monday have little difference, and all over value are very low. This indicates that the filtration system of campus water dispenser is very effective, and the value of drinking water meets the safety standards. Our questionnaire of 162 students shows that only 7% actually use the school water dispenser. Around 90% bring their own water, showing they trust home water more. This may be because people worry about water quality or the taste of the water. So, if we make water quality information more transparent, students may be more willing to use the dispenser, which would in turn help reduce bottled water and support both health and environment. After that, we analyzed the TTS data and our survey results and found something interesting. Even though the water quality meets safety standards, students still don't trust the water dispenser. The main reason seems to be a lack of clean water quality information. Because of that, many students choose to bring their own water. So, we think that making water data public could help build trust and enable students to use the dispenser.
For deployment of water quality monitor device, we developed 3 versions of the device. The main difference among them is the long-term testing and its particulars. Here's the interface of our online platform, where you can view the collected water quality data. Finally, we complete the following process. After creating water quality data detector, the device automatically uploads water quality data to the online platform, allowing users to access the information at any time.
During our research, we faced some problem. Problem 1, we were not familiar with data analysis and didn't know how to do it. To fix this, we asked teachers and senior graders on different files. They showed us better ways and tools, which helped us improve a lot.
Next, problem 2. Only teach as value on supporting water quality consumption. We realize teaching alone can only show water quality changes. So we add another test value like durability and digital oxygen. For our little contribution, we found the main reason why students don't like to use water tester is because they worry about the water is not clean. To solve this, we made a system with water monitor and a website, so users can see the water quality in real time. This helps students feel safer about the water. When they see the data and know the water is clean, they will be more willing to use the water tester, which help us fewer plastic bottles are used. This is our first presentation. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for this first radio performance. Now let's go to our next team. Our next team is Lawrence as Team Memorial School from Tainan. Their topic will be enhancing access to learning resources for children. So you have the new one, okay? One, two. Hello.
Dear delegates, congrats! It's my birthday at school. You're excited to learn, to thrive, yet things didn't go as it seems. You can't see the board. You can't see the board. You can't hear what your teacher is saying. Yet the learning materials aren't suitable for you as well. Be honest. Would you want to be stuck in that situation for years? And be honest. Is that inclusive education? Because for over 1.3 physically disabled children in Vietnam, they're stuck in classrooms that they cannot fully access. So today, we, the lab of Lawrence High School, want to show you the situation has gone far too wrong. But first, why must we care about students with physical disabilities? Do they even matter?
They do really matter. In fact, this group of people can potentially affect the government, the society, and the businesses. And firstly, according to the UNESCO report in 2012, for every dollar spent by the government
focused on inclusive education. They gave from 5 to $10 in return. And regarding society, the investment in inclusive education will increase the representation in school and therefore cut down the cycle of poverty. And for businesses, if one business employs people with disabilities, they will earn 30% more than their opponents. And as you can see, most research start at enrollment policies. However, once enrolled, do these students have enough materials to learn?
To respond to discovery and research, we decide to focus on students with disability because they face the most significant barriers and also they are the most documented. This category includes individuals with low vision, blindness, mobility limitation, and other hearing impairments. This problem also led us to target 4.5 and 4.8 of SDG-4, which is quality education. And the core problem is that children with physical disability in Vietnam struggle to access to adaptive learning resources. And our goals while doing the research is to assess the availability and effectiveness of the current adaptive learning resources. Also, we aim to identify the key barriers, therefore we can provide an affordable solution for these children. Because we believe that it is not only the children, but also their families, the education, and also the teachers. And more importantly, because these are widespread, therefore our research is nationally relevant. And from this, we also develop our hypothesis and specific questions.
So we first asked about the resources that exist for students with disability and also how effective are they. So based on national data, we believe that most schools have few of the tools. And when they do, it often limited and ineffective. Moving to our second research questions, we asked about how factor that affected the tools availability. So we found out that the main issue is low awareness. That when school businesses and society devote of inclusive education, they're less likely to support or fund it. And that living the student without the tools that need. So finally, we asked about the solutions that were elsewhere and also some solutions that were given. So study points out key strategies. First is assistive technology and second is community-based funding. So next is for the methodology. To examine our hypothesis, we use literature review as our main method. We gather other reports, national statistics and policy documents from UNICEF and more. And afterwards, we organize that activities so that we can answer the research questions and build the foundation for the solution. Next is the key finding.
Without our methods, like that you have collected, it is time to look closer at our findings. It turns out that our finding of our hypothesis is actually right. According to UNICEF and the University of Toronto, only 7% of elementary schools in Vietnam provide support for students with disabilities. In Kaohsiung City, it is rising slightly to 7.7%, but even among those, support is still limited to audio books, large written materials, and classroom education. A few better funded schools provide support such as text-to-speech software or alternative input devices. But still, this level of support is not enough for 1.3 million children with disabilities. As a result, the system fails to fully address institutional challenges and fails to meet the necessary requirements to ensure learning. One student shared he couldn't see the board, so he had to rely on his classmates. Another 14-year-old with physical disabilities said that there were no materials available, and they had to handwrite their own learning references. But
This is a big question. Why? What's standing in these barriers of access? So we actually found out that our second hypothesis is true, but needed expansion. Low awareness and societal bias are the root causes that are creating the barriers. Because children with disabilities are still facing discrimination, and they themselves don't dare to stand up for their own rights. And that alone can prove that awareness remains limited amongst educators, students, and even society itself. That root cause creates two main barriers. The first is weak policy enforcement, because Vietnam has strong inclusive education laws, but due to low awareness, implementation falls short, and there aren't frequent monitoring on inclusive education laws. And for that, 70% of mainstream schools do not meet inclusive education requirements. And 86% of 384 grade schools have no budget for the adaptive learning resources, even though the government mandates them to. The second is the lack of developed support system. There is a limited inclusive education centers, because for 1.3 million children with physical disabilities, there's only 14 nationwide that are provided at these schools. And only 1/6 primary schools and 1 in 10 lower secondary schools have a trained teacher to support them. Although there are many solutions among other countries, but in Vietnam we haven't had an effective one. The thought is we stand here to propose the solution. The School of Immigrants Learning, which is a scalable intervention model and designed to tackle addressable issues. And by providing comprehensive program, it includes medical program, academics, and also extra activities. Importantly, it is a career orientation and orientation into a better future for these students.
So, the training program is developed in partnership with the local business to equip skills and support independence for children with disability. And to strengthen policy enforcement, the school also collaborate with local authorities to establish the transparent monitoring system that can align national regulation. So, to support the student with disability, we also recruit and train the volunteer teaching assistant and collaborate with hospital and clinic to provide tools.
And before ending, we have two key takeaways for you. Our first hypothesis was correct. Only 7% of students, only 7% of schools in Vietnam offer the support for disabled students. And our second hypothesis was also confirmed. However, we uncovered the deeper issues, including the weak policy enforcement, the lack of inclusive education resource centers, and limited expertise. Looking back, though, we still have room for improvements. Relying only on literature means we cannot observe the real processes and gather direct perspective. We also struggle with the lack of time, and we hope that we will solve those problems and will offer you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much for your brilliant performance. Now let's welcome our next team. Our next team will be Kaohsiung Municipal Kaohsiung Senior High School from Taiwan. Please come to the stage.
Unapologetic greetings. We're students from Kaohsiung Municipal, Kaohsiung High Schools. And our research topic is accompanying of different high school student situations and factors of effects. My name is Marcus, and his name is Kyle, Harry, and Daniel. Before we start our presentation, I want the audience to think about questions. Do most high school students have this sufficiently in their daily life? If they won't, five factors also can have inadequately. Now, if you guys are curious and interested about our topic, so let's get started. Our research combined with sustainable development goals. Goal 3, health and well-being, and goal 4, quality educations. To make the more comprehensive and specifically, we make up the point. 3.1, we reduce mortality from non-communicable disease, and goal 4, quality education. 4.1, ensure free and equitable quality secondary education. 4.4, develop skills and learning abilities. 4.7, promote education for global citizenship and critical thinking. And here is the abbreviation we define. It can help us to understand the presentation more easily. CHS, Community High School. CPHS, College Preparatory High School. VHS and JC, Vocational High School and Junior College. Through our conversations we study and read, we find out on weekdays, the students only get 6 hours sleep. Clearly, it shows that high school students doesn't have sufficient sleep on school days. As a result, the rate of insufficiency reached as high as 89%, which is quite concerning and will cause unhealthy effects. Therefore, we want to find out which groups suffer the most from lack of sleep. Our initial hypothesis was that college preparatory high school students experience more severe sleep deprivation compared to other school types. After our assumptions, we want to explore those 2 questions. What is the gap in situation among these student groups, and what factors contribute to the gap? Those questions we will answer in the presentation later, and here let's step into our hypothesis. First, I will review the habits of students and identify our research topic. Next, we search online to find effective and relevant data. Then, we hold public meetings and discussions to plan our research approach. After, we design and distribute our questionnaire. Finally, we collect and organize responses, which enable us to write reports and analyze data. By the way, our total statistics is 697. In the valid samples are 408. In the valid samples, CHS occupy 184, CPHS are 144, VHS and JC are 80. And now, let me translate the microphone to Kyle.
After making a handout surveys, we compare different factors that might affect students' sleep time based on 3 different types of high school. College preparatory high school, community high school, and vocational high school. The first part of our report looks at students' sleep time and whether it is enough. We found that students from vocational high school usually sleep longer than those from college preparatory high school and community high school. College preparatory high school students and community high school students have about the same sleep time. However, most students from all 3 types of high school think their sleep time is not enough. Next, we look at the reason behind the lack of sleep. First is commuting time. When we compare college preparatory high school students and community high school students, we found that college preparatory high school students usually go to bed earlier because they often have to travel longer to get to school. We also noticed that some students are willing to travel farther if it means attend a school with a better chance to get into college. Next is Crane School. College prepared high school students and community high school students attend Crane School at similar rates, while few vocational high school students go. Students who don't go to Crane School tend to go to bed earlier than those who do. Last is personal factors. College preparatory high school students seem to be the most affected by Crane School. Academic pressure is higher in community high school. As for weekend activities, three schools have shown similar patterns. In summary, our study reveals several important insights into students' sleep habits. First, students from vocational high school usually sleep longer than those from college preparatory high school and vocational high school. But most students still do not get enough sleep. Second, students from college preparatory high school tend to go to bed earlier because of their longer commuting time. Third, students who don't go to Crane School tend to go to bed earlier than those who do. Last, most students believe that phone use affects how long they sleep.
After identifying this problem, we started looking for possible solutions. First, we found that most students spend a lot of time on phones, and all half of them see the phone use and negatively affect their sleep. Furthermore, about 60% of students believe reducing the phone use will improve it. So, what can we do? First, we encourage students to join meaningful activities. When students are busy with the thing they enjoy or feel physically tired, they will reduce their dependence on the phone. But we also need to consider that not to create more stress or pressure. Second, the Taiwanese government recently proposed a phone use policy. However, it faced pushback from students. So, instead of just banning the phones, we should focus on teaching students how to use their phone more properly. This is the only way to solve the problem at its roots.
First, the event sample distribution affected the accuracy of our results. To improve this, we suggest increasing the channels for distributing the questionnaire or handing out directly at school entrances. One unexpected finding was a mismatch in results. For example, even though 80% of students are sleep deprived, 60% still say they perform well in class. To understand this, we did several interviews. The contributing factors like academic pressure and caffeine help students stay focused despite no sleep. We also found that many students go to high school voluntarily. According to our research, there are three main reasons: peer pressure, PKs with less distance, and personal witness. Recently, South Korea closed school at 10 p.m. and China prohibits its school on weekends. So how do we do in Taiwan? First, government policies. Second, having limitation of phone use by personal discipline. Sleep is closely linked to students' health, so addressing sleep deprivation is very important.
Okay, finally, and I want to respond to the professor's comments, because for now, our responses, solutions, and methods is too simple to solve the society problems. But I believe today we've sowed the seed, and one day it will become a tree. As Edith says, big thing starts small. Thank you for your participation, patience, and attention.
Thank you very much. Now let's welcome our last group, Wichita Higashi High School from Japan. Their topic will be sports in our mental health and sports improve our self-esteem.
what do you do when you wake up? Maybe you can say math or listen to music. But how do we stop? We just watching sports. Hi, we're students who live in their sports in Cianjhen High School. I'm Kaohsiung from Ting.
I'm Shota from track and field team.
Hello, I'm Riam. I like watching soccer.
Hi, I'm Kaohsiung. I enjoy watching baseball games.
In our team, we research how sports affect our mental health. Also, we focus on one SDGs goals, go play, good health and well-being. Also, we hope people around the world can improve the health by doing study. Now, let's look at this picture. It shows the number of suicides among young people, and sadly, it is increasing. And it reached 527. This is heartbreaking, right? So we are asked why is this way? Or we believe one first is low self-esteem. Please look at this picture. It shows the self-esteem levels in different countries. Japan is far below the others. So we asked, how can we raise our self-esteem? And our answer is sports. Sports may increase our self-esteem.
Next, I'd like to introduce a heartwarming project called Be Supported by the Japanese Village Company Sanctuary. This project encourages elderly residents in care facilities to support professional soccer teams. It gives them purpose and energy, helping them happier and more fulfilling lives. Seeing their bright smiles reminds us supporting others can boost self-esteem no matter their age. Now, before diving into our main topic, let me tell you about our school. We study hard, but we also enjoy athletic events like long-distance marathons and bowl sports tournaments. Cheering for soccer and beautiful games is a big part of our school culture. It's a good place to explore the link between sports and mental health. To find out, we conducted surveys before and after sport events to measure their impact on mental health. We surveyed around 480 students 4 times. The question was to assess self-esteem. For example, can you think positively about anything? However, we face a challenge. If students read the survey about self-esteem, they might answer with bias. So, to avoid this, we added over 10 unrelated questions, like, do you believe in true love? So this helped keep the real purpose hidden. Analyzing all the data was a big task, but we worked hard as a team and completed it. Now, these are the 9 questions we used, and let us share our hypotheses before the survey.
Before we conducted our survey, we laid 4 hypotheses about how sports affect self-esteem. Hypothesis 1. Supporting others boosts self-esteem more than just participating. 2. Playing sports that much more ability versus self-esteem. 3. Feeling a sense of accomplishment after sports increases self-esteem. 4. Enjoying the difficult exercises or contributing to teams versus self-esteem. Now, let's take a closer look at the results.
Now, our hypothesis, sporting boosts self-esteem rather than just participating. So we compare players and sporters before and after in 2 events, like one from team sports tournament, like the soccer. And the results showed players improved more. So my hypothesis was not correct. However, in team sports tournament,
sports showed a bigger route than a marathon. So we think that during activity in team setting helps supporters be more connected and increase the mental health.
We examine whether playing sport got much responsibility and low self-esteem. We compare sports club members and cultural club members because sports club members have generally higher athletic ability. We look at the overall change in self-esteem and also the change in students who were initially neutral. We found two things. First, sports club members gain more self-esteem on the marathon, which were physically demanding. Second, cultural club members gain more self-esteem among the sports elements, which were game-oriented. However, the payoff from the students who were initially neutrally showed no great difference, so our hypothesis was most reflex.
Hypothesis 3. Feeling a sense of accomplishment after sports increases self-esteem. We track students who answered neutral about themselves before events. After both marathons and ball game tournaments, many showed improved responses. So we concluded that a sense of accomplishment truly helps boost self-esteem.
Finally, let me introduce our hypothesis for and different exercises for feeling team contribution with self-esteem. We tested this in two different exercises and endurance-oriented exercises. First, let's talk about different exercises using data from our marathon event. We divided students into two groups. If they enjoy the marathon or not. Then we ask, do you feel a sense of accomplishment in your activities? And do you think people will be rewarded if they put in effort? The results were clear. Students who enjoy marathon had greater increase in self-esteem. It shows that even tough activities can strengthen mental health. Next, we examine and evaluate using data from our sports tournament and its practice. This time, we focus on which the students present have contributed to the team. We found those who contributed to the team felt more self-esteem. Interestingly, the increase was greater during practice than in after game. Why? That's because practice will give more chance to be useful in games. So hypothesis 4 was supported. We learned and enjoyed difficult exercises and feeling team contribution with self-esteem. After analyzing all the data, we found 4 key conclusions. 1. Players tend to gain more self-esteem than supporters, thus both benefits. 2. Engaging sport that much one's ability is helpful. 3. A sense of accomplishment leads to higher self-esteem. 4. Enjoying top physical activity and contributing to teams can raise self-esteem. In short, we found how we should develop sports to improve self-esteem. First, choose a sport that matches your ability. Sense of accomplishment, contribution to the team, and fun really matter. And second, please don't forget, actively supporting athletes is also powerful for improving self-esteem. We didn't want this just to stay only with us. So we shared the project at the school festival and of the school sports tournament this year. Many visitors and students showed great interest. One of our project members organized a very broad event between high school students, teaching them a variety of accomplishments, contribution, and fun in sports. Now, we are planning to propose the We Support This project to the local professional subcommittee, encouraging them to support the well-being of elderly people in our community through sports. Now, we truly believe that sports can improve mental health for everyone, no matter their age. We hope you think of this as your own story too, and more people around the world will engage in sports and improve mental health. Thank you for listening.
Okay, now thank you all for your presentations. We believe that you are now eager to get some constructive feedback. So let's welcome our commentator again. So please let us welcome our Dr. Wen-Hua.
Good afternoon. Once again, I want to say a wonderful job for all the 10 teams. You not only did a good job, but also you initiated the social issue and start providing your personal perspective and some solutions. Of course, it is not a very direct solution. This is you have something, you get something in your mind. So I will start to give some comments from team number 6 to 10. In team number 6, understanding the decline in face-to-face communication. May I ask you a question for the team number 6? Are you willing to stop using the smartphone? Oh. Do you have the microphone? Yes. Are you willing to stop using the microphone or the smartphone, not microphone?
No, definitely not as a teenager. So that's why we're not looking forward to completely stop the use of gadgets, right? We're looking forward to see the decrease of screen time, and not just about gadgets, honestly. It's more to like parents or peers or teachers. Because we believe that why we stop having a good communication or good interaction in real life is not only because of gadgets. Well, even though gadgets is one of the main reasons, but it's also because your parents, your peers, your teachers are not giving you a good environment to have a good interaction with.
Okay. The reason why I ask you is because I think not only for the teenagers, even for the adults. We use smartphone every day. Yes. Right? Yeah, I have to say, even during the presentation, I still use my cell phone and smartphone to check some emails. So it's very hard to stop using that, but that also created an obstacle for the communication. Yeah. So I think another issue is during the COVID-19 period. We don't have the time to give this face-to-face communication with each other. We also put behind the screens. Yeah, that's the key issue. I think not only for the groups in this room, but even in a university, I found many times people have the difficulty to communicate. Yeah, because they already get familiar with the online learning. They don't need to talk to people. Yeah, so communication is a very important problem right now. Yeah. So, but I think the fortunate thing is right now we come back to the classroom. Yeah. So we have the chance to talk face to face. Yeah. So that's some comments and for team number 6. And for team number 7, I was wondering, did you try to contact your principal or the school? Because you try to provide your own solution to the quality inspection of the water, right? For team number 7, you do the campus water quality monitoring system.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you contact the principal of the school and ask him, yeah, so far we have a problem of our dispenser. Can you ask someone to check the water quality? You didn't do that, but you want to do that by your own. 就是你们怎么校长去解决这个问题？我就是很好奇，你们很棒，越来越 try to provide your own solutions. You even created the device. But why not ask the general affairs of the schools? 这个学校总是没有提供任何协助吗？我就是很好奇这件事情。
No, they didn't because our research shows that the water is very clean and you don't need to have fix the problem because the water is clean. Yeah. The problem is the information of water quality is not clear to students or users. So we want to show the information to the users so it can let them use the dispenser more frequently. Yes.
Right? Yeah, the reason why I ask you is, of course, the water dispenser in your school is a problem, but if that is the big problem, not only in your school, maybe in your own region, right?
Yeah.
Not only one school, maybe 2 or 3 schools has the same problem.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to know, yeah, you just mentioned you already told, I'll talk to your principal, so already find someone to monitor the water and ensure that the quality is sufficient. But you still don't believe that.
Yes, we
你找做学校的人嘛，对不对？但是他们做了检查，但是你还是相信他。
就是我觉得是比较让我学生的一个心理上的一个觉得怕，就是它好像有味道，然后就不敢用这样。
Alright. So again, as I mentioned earlier, this kind of social issue sometimes cannot be solved immediately. But at least you move forward. You have your personal, you provide your personal solution. But sometimes the governors or the principal have a solution. If you don't trust that, it's a trust issue. If you don't trust, you go your way. And for number 8. I really amazed by your good performance. You have 4 girls sitting there and 1 boy sitting here, right? Yeah, it shows a good, I think from your talk, you show the sympathy and compassion to the physical disabled. Yeah. But again, let me ask you one question. Will you want to be a volunteer to help those physical disabled, and how to do that? You point out the problems. Number 8, number 8.
I'm sorry, but can you repeat the question?
Okay.
So that everybody get it?
Yeah. What I like to mention is, from your teaching, you show your sympathy and compassion to those physical disabled. That's a good thing. But if someone in your classroom maybe he's the so-called the physical disabled. Will you be the volunteer to help you and how to do that? You point out the problem, you point out the question, and what is your solution?
Okay. I think if there's someone in my class cannot like understand the lesson, I think that of course I will help them. But I think like the responsibility will depend on the teachers and also the educators. Although we are the solution, but I believe that it's just like it only has strength when the educator and also the teacher care about those students. So that's the reason why we propose a solution that is a school model, not about the way how to help the children. Yeah, because I believe that like if we provide an environment for them, they will have more chances to access in adaptive learning resources instead of depending on their classmates.
Okay, good point. Yeah. Again, I think the reason why I asked you is because you mentioned the physical disabled, maybe the young people, not in the same age. But if it happens in your classroom, your classmates has the same situation, then what can we do? How can we help them?
Like an example that you heard from our presentation is the evidence from UNICEF report, not in our class.
I know. So it's
like
a case study. A case study. If someone in your classroom,
Well, personally, I say that there's a thing called the Inclusive Education Resource Centers, where they will provide assistive tools for the students in need. And so if my class has, a person with physical disability, I think the best way to do that would be to contact those centers that are existing in our nation to help send materials to them, to support them.
Okay, so you think that's the best policy and to provide a better nutritional environment for them?
Just 1 second.
I don't know whether I should speak fast or not.
No, just like 1 second. So you're asking like, if that's the best solution?
Yeah, you think that is the best solution, the best policy for your classmates. Yeah, to send him or her to the center to have a better environment for the treatment.
I would say that plan that I told you would work well as a short-term help. As in, they would get the tools they need to learn well. But again, this issue is something that's happening nationally in a very large scope. And as we mentioned, this problem is stemming from multiple different aspects and people. There's society, there's businesses, and there's students with disabilities themselves. We ourselves cannot help propose the best solution out there. We need help from the government, the businesses, and all other people to really help those in need and solve the situation.
I see, yes. Okay. Good answer. Right? So let's move to the J number 9. Sleeping issue. Yeah, and I think this topic is very hard to discuss because you have 3 groups, right? And I know the group number 9. Okay, yeah. You discuss the situation among the 3 groups, right? Each group has its own pressures. Or I can say the pressures from these 3 individual groups is totally different. For you, just like you from Cianjhen, I think you suffer more pressures because you want to go to the medical school, right? If I just guess, maybe most of the students in Cianjhen want to go to the medical school. So you suffer more pressures, but compared to the other groups, maybe they don't need to go to primary school like they have longer study time. Is that true?
Yeah, so that's why they should provide different statistics and different information to prove that different types of schools have their own practices.
Yeah, so another issue is I found you talk about self-discipline to reduce. I think it's very hard to do because, again, if I ask you to reduce the time of using cell phones and also maybe the online game during the night time, will you do that?
I believe that most residents of our students will do that, and the self-discipline is quite an important issue and a personal ability students should have. But I believe that now in the modern society, most students don't have this ability. So I believe the government, maybe, or the whole nation, or something facilities will do something to help students to cultivate this ability.
Okay. Yeah, let me ask the audience in Chinese. 我不晓得在场各位高中学生啊，因为我刚刚只是随口举例，我想说，因为第9组他们讨论的是这个睡眠的问题嘛，但是是不同的学生的这个团体。那我知道你们都很辛苦了，因为你们为了要进理想高中大学，其实都花了非常多的时间在读书，但是相对的，这个是一个 sacrifice， 就是你牺牲了你的睡眠时间嘛。对。但是因为不同的团体之间，其实你说像高职的同学，或者像你们雄中的同学，或者南一中的同学，或其他的同学，我想你们都有自己想要达到的这个入学的目标。所以你们花很多时间在追求成绩的同时，真的是你也牺牲了睡眠品质。不过我还是觉得健康相对还是最重要。虽然你们年轻啊，真的你们年轻是本钱，没错啊，但是也不要让它变成是一种就是晚睡的就是熬夜就变成习惯因为其实无形当中你就是还是会对身体造成伤害。对那。我觉得这个题目是非常有意思的但是就是那个族群的区别性，其实因为不同的群体他们的作息时间其实差异性很大，所以这个起来要讨论的时候，其实会有点难度。All right, so
谢谢你。
Okay, so the final team is I think the Japanese people will not have the low self-esteem. Will not. Because, so let's take one example. If we are talking about baseball game, the soccer game, maybe Taiwanese feel depression. Maybe. Because for the baseball game and soccer game, the achievement of the Japanese team is higher than the Taiwanese team, right?
If the team wants, the students or players or the people who work in the game will be happy, but we wanted to tell that playing sports and supporting sports can raise self-esteem, and the one part of the low self-esteem is we wanted to show the one of the solutions. We wanted to tell sports as one of the solutions of low self-esteem. So we didn't want to tell you that sports is one of course low self-esteem.
Okay. Yeah, I think sport is a good way for the mental and the body health for sure. So sports is important. So as I mentioned to earlier, you have to keep your a good target, not just too late. Yeah. So we can relate to the issue for Ting and I. We are talking about the disability issue. What I want to say is, I was wondering, maybe you feel lower self-esteem. Is that due to the culture in Japan? Because I assume the Japanese tend to depress the personal feelings and not to intervene other people.
Then you meant that our presentation applies only in Japanese, but also doesn't apply for all over people all over the world.
I assume it is due to the environment in Japan, the culture, because you don't want to intervene or don't want to ask help from other people.
We Japanese, we connect many people, but not only the dialectic, but also through the internet. So I think the environment of how to communicate with people at home and also all over the world. And so, especially as we show data, our Japanese self-esteem is lower for like others, but our people in all countries have low self-esteem, and if the temporary ones, people will feel depression or feeling sad or something, and for the old people's mental health, not only in Japan, we wanted to show that people can raise their self-esteem by playing sports and also for sports.
Alright? Yeah. Good feedback. How much time do I have? As I said, I already finished my part, and so once again I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to learn very new things from you guys, and I have a wonderful time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again for the useful feedback from our commentators. It's time for our another tea break. Desserts and beverages are ready. But please bring your personal belongings with you, as we're heading back to the main venue for the closing ceremony. Okay, so desserts and beverages are ready at the square outside of the conference hall. Okay, before the conference will resume at 5:10.